Good afternoon, all of you, my lovely guests and my lovely viewers. A very good afternoon to all of you. Today, we are here for a very interesting panel discussion on the topic early child care and education, homeschooling versus online play schooling. So we have many eminent people from around the country with us. So first of all, I will welcome all my guests one by one. I won't be reading their introductions. We have our moderator who will be reading their introduction, but I'll call out their names. I have Miss Akshi Mehta, the director and chairperson of Lajoi Early Learning Habitat. Then we have Miss Sonal Ahuja, and she's from New Delhi, and she is a very good speaker. Miss Aruna will talk about her, and she owns a website, and she is into this parenting and all the stuff. And then we have Mr. Chirag Agarwal. He is the director of Early Ventures Preschooling chain of schools. So, first of all, let me introduce to you our moderator for today, Miss Aruna Saxena. Miss Aruna Saxena is the founder of ASC English Classes and chairperson of Fantasy Social and Cultural Organization. And she's the owner of Strawberries Field, a play school with a difference, Lucknow. So Aruna Saxena needs no introduction in the field of education, social work, and events. She has organized one of the best national level events. She started her career in the field of education at a very young age as a teacher in the Lamatinia Girls College, Lucknow. She has trained children in English language, dramatics, elocution, debating, and extempore. As chairperson Fantasies, she has organized huge events which has helped youngsters realize their potential, gain confidence, and reach new heights. Her shows have always been a major success. Her name has made a massive impact in the field of fashion, and her show has always been a major success. Her name has made a massive impact in the field of fashion, mesmerizing cultural events, educational and social work since 1994. She has also organized polio campaign in her early days for the underprivileged children. Furthermore, she has also served as the area manager for VLCC Healthcare. She has recently started these English classes, Aruna Saxena English classes, which under the year of 2 years have 700 students. She has an illuminating personality, which can be felt by the people who come in contact with her. Her drive to help people around her has touched the lives of many. Her humbleness, with an exquisite and impeccable personality, makes her the person she is. She has been a mentor to many. Welcome you, Aruna ma'am, and over to you.
Thank you, Zena. Thank you so much. I welcome everyone, all the panelists, and our beautiful people who have joined us to watch us live. I welcome everyone. And starting with our first panelist is Miss Sonal Ahuja, founder, House of Learning, producer, Inside Out Channel, New Delhi. Today, she'll be speaking on the topic learning at its best. Sonal Ahuja, a self-confessed educational alchemist, is a lifelong learner who passionately believes in the power of learning and bringing change. Supporting effective learning has been her life's aim. Apart from being an early childhood education expert, she has taken expertise and experience on neuro-linguistic programming and is now embarked in the field of excellence new installation technology. She also has diploma in child and educational psychology from an academy founded in Galway, Ireland. She is also certified on GCC Global Career Counseling by UCL's Extension Program. She is an active member of the American Psychology Association and NAEYC. She is also an active member of an American Psychology Association. Her work on language acquisition has been acknowledged by even NCERT. She has worked in close proximity with Delhi Legal Services Authority for spreading awareness against child abuse. She has been invited as a guest speaker in many seminars on topic issues revolving around the schools of tomorrow and innovative practices in the education system. Sonal Ahuja is currently heading APER chapter of Early Childhood Association as territory head Delhi. She was also a speaker on the World Forum Foundation 2019 in Macau. Sonal is also the founder of House of Learning, director of Sri Ram Foundation Preschools, advisor into the formal school Sri Ram Bal Bharati, and regularly conducts training for teachers, parents, and children. Sonal Ahuja, founder, House of Learning, out other experience of more than 2 decades, touching lives firstly as a mother, then as an educator, reflector, and finally as an expert, has come up with a ready reference book for all the parents as well as for the school leaders by the name Overcoming Parenting Myths. Ms. Sonal Ahuja has also initiated a program called Apna Time Aayega. So I would like to invite Sonal uh, to, you know, can we start with your first learning at its best?
Sure. Thank you so much, Aruna. Um, I think, can we have your mic on mute? Yeah, thank you, Aruna. I think that was quite a long of the resume read out. It was not needed. Anyways, thank you so much for being so kind and read it so in great details. Well, the topic for the day is very close to my heart. And when I got to know that I have this opportunity to talk on this, I was just writing a few lines which I'm going to share with you today. So, the concept, of homeschooling versus online play schooling, if you can really see it very closely, we have to have that lens of going very deep into it. It's a wonderful topic, and we can actually go 10x in the child's learning if we very nicely decode this. So, what two lovely words that come to my mind when I see it? It's like if homeschooling and online is well blended and well integrated, it has the capacity to 10x the child's learning. You know, I have always wondered, why are we looking at it separately? It can be well packed as one, presented to the families to be able to let children be themselves and learn, and B, help the parents understand the concept of learning and not only schooling. So, to express my point of view, I would like to tell the whole story right from where it did trigger exactly. So, when the lockdown occurred due to the COVID 19, one general thought in the media and education circle was millions of children around the world are suffering the loss of learning. We've been listening to this, and now, as schools and in that case, even the colleges and universities are turning online, now the buzz is different. The buzz is COVID 19 is going to change education forever. This is what I listen every now and then. Now, the statement one that I gave, that millions of children around the world are suffering the loss of learning, is gravely untrue. I do not agree to it. Millions of children around the world are not suffering the loss of learning. In fact, millions of teachers around the world are suffering the loss of teaching. Think on it. Children, meanwhile, are happily learning what they like to and what they want to learn. Some are doing, say, craft. I mean, these are all the evidences that I have collected out of the spheres I work in and the schools I work with. They're doing craft, some are reading, some are playing games, many even participate in the housework, some are dancing, some are fixing their toys which were left opened for years, and some are, in that case, even opening up the brand new toys and being inquisitive to, kind of check what is there inside. So, in a way, I feel this lockdown has gifted our children with self directed learning. Okay, I tell you for a moment to kind of keep children aside. Okay, I want to ask you, don't you feel a sense of freedom somewhere nowadays? I mean, I feel you want to do things you have been thinking of doing from ages. Now I see, okay, I can do that. You're doing the things with more clarity and core because you think you have time. Your senses are getting more sharper these days and you're doing a lot. Still, you have a time for yourself. Isn't it happening with most of us? So I believe that even if a handful of you feel this way, then ask yourself, why do you feel the way you feel? You will get to understand that self direction is the key to innovation and learning. And an imposed way of learning, or even living in that case, has its own repercussions. So, online or offline, in the classroom or in the labs, at home or on the ground, the moment we get children to lead, not just others, but themselves, we are making them leaders. We are giving them responsibility of their own learning. And that responsibility, that's the key word. That responsibility will be the biggest learning for the child. So I want to convey that we as educators have the onus to open up not just the child's life, but also open up parents' perspectives. I think that's the biggest role you and me have to play now. We can show simply by what we do and how we do to the parents that education is not a preparation for completing a curriculum or, in that case, for a career, rather, empowerment to make each child realize his or her own joy in life. Now, be it online or at home with parents, it has to be understood well, it has to be designed well, and most importantly, it has to be facilitated well. Now, these are the words very, exciting and encouraging when I write and I get overwhelmed with these thoughts. And some of them have been actually picked up. I want to really cite here. I've picked up from the people who are into the homeschooling, who've been working, people like Arohi Life Education Trust in Bangalore. They're doing a great job. Unfortunately, the education system has conditioned the children to believe that they cannot decide what to do with their time. We've actually converted them into consumers more. All the learning is dished out to them, a well set dish, in various forms, designed by teachers, textbooks, AV content, and so on. And they are supposed to simply consume it. Come on, have, eat it now. We've been that way conditioning parents also to a large extent to believe that only school or teachers can groom their children. So we have been making them believe that they're incapable of living their lives. You see, this is the problem, which was created much before lockdowns. This is nothing new. But by nature's design, naturally, children are producers. You know it well, I know it well. Just, for an instance, watch a 2-year-old child running around in the house. Just now we were talking to Zainab and she has a 4-year-old girl. In fact, she can also think of, consistently they're running around, learning from things, from people around. They're learning from their own originality. They are the factory which produces learning by the minute, and you can't stop this process. So as children grow, what we are doing is we are actually moving them away from the natural dynamism of, being self-directed to teacher curriculum and system directed. I think nobody can deny this fact. Even I am into the fraternity, I run my own schools, and I know this is the fact. We convert our prolific producers to habitual consumers. No wonder all they can think of during this time, including my own too, who are quite grown ups now, it is all about gadgets, TV, or expression. I am getting bored. What to do next? But in all these facets, still, I would say that we need to see this as an opportunity, a huge opportunity, massive potential energy is now waiting to explode. Imagine millions of children and young adults, a huge learning force is waiting on the bench, raring to do something wonderful in life. So all they need is a spark, and we would have the biggest learning fire going around the world. So help ignite that fire. Let's talk about learning at its best. More than anything else, learning has to be the main focus. Parents and schools will have to understand that once children become in charge of their learning, even learning won't matter at that point in time. Doing will be the king. Action will be the king. And children will love doing. And all the doings, invariably lead to learning. I do take bath, that's a learning. I do eat, that's a learning. I do read, that's a learning. So whatever I'm doing in an action is learning. So be it online or homeschooling, the focus has to be pivoted on child's learning majorly. And I would like to end with one big note that I strongly believe is online schooling and homeschooling, they always coexist. They cannot stay alone. If the preschools are online, they need, now looking at the scenario, the parents and the guardians to be empowered enough to be able to facilitate at home too. And if it is only about homeschooling, not all the parents are well versed about what exactly homeschooling is. So, anyhow, they need guidance, they need some support in research and designing of activities from the school. So, they go hand in hand. And this is all what I had to say. Thank you.
Thank you so much. It's very just, I'll just repeat the topic of discussion today: early childhood care and education, homeschooling versus online play schooling. And according to Sonal, they both go hand in hand and very well explained, because in this lockdown, yes, every child is learning at home in different ways. It can be, like she said, dancing, reading, doing household work. Very well explained, Sonal. And I must add here that countries which are most prevalent homeschooling is New Zealand, Canada, United Kingdom, United States. And it is an extension of the compulsory school system. Though in India it's not a crime, it's legal, but very few homeschooling is there. As she said, in Bangalore, there's Arohi, which is doing. So moving ahead, we have the next panelist with us is Mrs. Ashi Mehta. Hi, Ashi. She is Director Operations, Lajoi, Early Child Learning Habitat, Creative Director and Operations Head, Sumitra Group of Schools, Lucknow. And today her topic is online preschooling, a partnership between the parents and the educators in the new normal. And moving ahead, I'll just introduce about her. She's a great, to nurture great minds is a great privilege and a great responsibility. Akshi is a passionate educator with valuable experiences in pre-primary education. After completing her bachelor's degree in mass communication and master's degree in advertising and marketing from Amity University, Noida, Akshi went on to become an internationally trained Montessorian with an international diploma in the Montessori from London, United Kingdom. Her work portfolio is equally impressive, comprising projects, reputed agencies like Contact and Ogilvy and Matter Gurgaon. As a part of her social responsibilities, she started a crèche for the children of laborers working at Sumitra's various construction sites Apart from being the director operations at Lajoi's early learning habitat, she also currently serves as the creative director and operations head of the institutions at the Sumitra Group of Schools. At Lajoi, she believes that education should be exploratory, self-driven, and source of everlasting joy. Keeping with the core philosophy of the Montessori method at Lajoi, always put the child first and the facilities early learning by stimulating their natural genius and incorporation of age appropriate practices. At Lajoi Early Learning Habitat, they create a learning space which is not suppressed by the orthodox methodology of teaching, dependent on talk. Rather, they aim at cultivating an environment where children are free to learn and explore, fostering independent learning skills among themselves. So, just one second. She has been also, she got the award Women of Excellence Award 2020 by Indian Achievers Forum by the early forum, recognition of outstanding professional achievement for her formidable vision and extraordinary work. Under the winning leadership of Mrs. Akshi Mehta, Lajoi was nominated as one of the top 10 emerging standalone preschools of India, North India, by the Early Child Development Forum. So, moving ahead, I invite Akshi to share her views.
Good evening, namaskar. Thank you, Aruna, for extensive introduction.
Aruna ji,
Mute microphone. Yeah, thank you, Aruna. That really helps. Thank you so much once again for the beautiful and such extensive introduction about me. And thank you to the organizers for giving me this platform to share my views and my insights about the topic homeschooling versus online preschooling. So, as Ms. Sonal said, I couldn't agree more that both these platforms coexist. Very rightly put up by Sonalji, and I could really relate that what she was trying to explain throughout. Yes, the COVID-19 crisis and the subsequent lockdown, and it's going to, how it is increasing, has taken a toll on everybody's life. And it's challenging for everybody, be it the parents or the schools. So it's difficult on both the ends. But what is the need of the hour is right now, currently? The first thing is, I think even Sonalji mentioned, that we need to understand the plight of the parents. It's very important to know what parents are going through currently. Until and unless you don't understand what they are going through, how are we going to help them as educators? It's very important, very, very important. And having said that, once you have understood the parents need to understand that how the schools are trying to cope up with the circumstances currently. Once both the parties understand and land on the same page, then only the benefit to the child can happen. So it's very important for both the parties to come on the same time, right? All right, so moving forward, once I was told about this wonderful and interesting topic of online preschooling versus uh, uh, homeschooling, so a thought struck my mind that why we cannot, reframe it as online homeschooling. Like as Sonalji said, why two different methods and why do we need to, put them apart? Tell me if I am wrong. Like every home right now is turned into a school, isn't it? And every parent is currently adapted to a teacher. Am I right or not? Isn't it? So why not online homeschooling? Our parents are extending forward every kind of support. Now that I talked about from the perspective of the parent, I also need to tell you the imperative roles played by the school here. The guidance, the aids, the structured learning provided from their end. So both the things go hand in hand, right? So what are schools currently doing? If I talk about from the perspective of the school, they are trying to bridge up the gap between the parent and the facilitators to land on the same page. School is providing the structured guidance, and parents back at home are trying to extend and support by facilitating the child back at home, right? Homeschooling is, I really appreciate homeschooling. So once I started last year online homeschooling, I was not really in the notion of digital learning. I really did not want to make my children sit in front of the screen. I was not at all convinced. I was totally against it. So as my parents used to call me and ask, "Actually, is it possible 2 साल का बच्चा स्क्रीन पे बैठेगा? ऐसा होता है? हम 10 मिनट नहीं बैठा सकते, आप 45 1 hour क्लास की बात कर रहे हैं." So I used to be like, yes, it's not possible. No, it's not going to work out. बहुत difficult है बच्चों को retain करना screen में, because they are the toughest audience that we cater to. But unlikely, and on the contrary to my notion, what happened was sitting idle and waiting to lockdown get over. As Sonal ji said, my senses were at ease, and something came upon my mind that actually let's start with online play dates. बच्चों को enjoy कराते हैं ना, घर बैठे हैं, क्या करेंगे, कितना पेपर मैशी करेंगे, कुछ करेंगे. They socially interact also. They go through the sensitivity of social behavior. They need to meet their friends. They need to talk about their friends. They need to say hello and hi. They need to learn how to greet each other. So that was the point when I thought, ki chalo, let's start with this concept of online play dates. I started inviting my children on the screen, and we used to do a lot of fun activities, music and movement, storytelling sessions, art and craft, and lot more. So then I realized I thought that they won't sit, but it did not happen like that. I could retain them on the screen. But having said that, to retain on the screen, you need to create something that worthy that catches their attention. If every day on the screen in the morning 9 a.m. I'm going to start A, apple, B, ball, no, that's not going to work out that way. You need to stimulate them with different kind of things. You need to make them explore every morning, something for them to explore. That आज क्लास में हम क्या टच करेंगे, क्या फील करेंगे, आज हम क्या एक्सप्लोर करेंगे, हम क्या लर्न करेंगे. So that's how online homeschooling at La Joy came into existence. So this is basically the combination of both. Homeschooling, my parents are the adapted teachers, and I am here providing them a structured guidance that how to go about learning for your child from the comfort of your homes. Now that I talked about things to explore, अब हमने क्या किया? I did a lot of trials and error and started adapting the principles of Montessori in my own created material. If I wanted to teach them big and small, so I created material within school and I started delivering them to their doorsteps. And that was the point. I realized this is going to work. My children need to touch and feel and understand to know a concept, to learn a concept. If I'm going to appear on the screen and talk about it, it's not going to work. I'll fail at retaining my toughest audience there. So that's how this entire learning model came into life in the new normal 2020. And that's how La Joy took birth. And I'm grateful to God that my parents are providing extensive support from their end. And I am constantly working on my research to develop and create such material to deliver it to them so that my children can work back at home. Having said that, if we are doing online homeschooling, I would like to suggest all the parents and educators currently viewing us that we also need to monitor the time span of online classes. So what I felt out of my experience in past 1 year, that regular online classes with the little ones really do not go that effective. To maintain the novelty of the facilitator on the screen, make it alternate days, make it 2 days in a week, make it 3 days in a week, so that the child has something to look forward to. Imagine if a teacher appears every day in the morning and she starts the class. There is no novelty left. Na teacher to roz aayegi fir, hai na? So there has to be a gap for the child to look forward to. That tomorrow is my class again and my ma'am is going to appear and then we are going to learn about something new again. So that's my small suggestion to all the viewers, that if you are doing online classes, you are doing online homeschooling, restrict the screen time from the school's end, and this is also our responsibility. And whatever has been taught in the online classes, always plan the reinforcements for them. It's very important what has been told in the online class to the child. Design activity in such a way that child has something to do the other alternate day also, so that the concept has been reinforced that has been told in the online class. So that was from my end. And as Sonal ma'am said, that the school does not restrict only to, till the time that we have to complete the syllabus so that so that the children are absorbed in the formal school. That's not the only sole responsibility for us. We need to work on the different domains also. Now that we are so closely knit with the parents through online homeschooling, we can help them with their potty training, with their behavioral changes, with their anger management. There's so many things that we can now help about that I could have not done in my physical scenario. Now everything being online, everything is so easily accessible and the connectivity is so good. And my teachers and everybody is so approachable that we can help the parents on different domains. So we are not only restricted on, completing the curriculum. We, through this platform of online, we are so well connected and so easily approachable that we can also help parents in different domains. And Lajoy, like as it is said, that Rome was not built in a day. So Lajoy online homeschooling was also not done in a day. So there were a lot of trials and errors, as I already told, starting from the Play-Doh dates, from the online dates, storytelling. So that's how this entire idea of online homeschooling came into existence. And I would like to thank all my team for making it a successful one. And not only my team, I want to thank all the educators who are currently watching us. I know everybody is doing the best at what they can do. So for me, one small exercise that we're going to do together: raise your right hand. Sonal ma'am, Chirag sir, Aruna ma'am, raise your right hand. Pat your back. Say well done. I am doing a great job, and I'm going to do even better in future. So that was it from my end. Thank you, Aruna ji, once again for having me for today's discussion.
Thank you, Akshi. So, agreeing with her, homeschoolers, they become, I think, more happier and more productive adults. And as the teachers and the parents are working together, the children are more comfortable and they have their own time. There's no pressure like for test and exams and homework. All those pressures are not there in this online homeschooling. Yes. So moving ahead, we have Mr. Chirag Agarwal, and I'm going to read about him. Mr. Chirag Agarwal is founder, director, Early Ventures chain of preschools, Bangalore, Karnataka. Welcome, Mr. Chirag. His topic is online preschools, a boon for the working parents. A man with passion and loads of energy, Mr. Chirag Agarwal is an award-winning serial entrepreneur, and a passionate educator. He has been a student of prestigious universities like the Christ University and the University of Southern Queensland, Australia. From childhood, he always wanted to stand out from the crowd. This mentality made him an actor and be a part of the Oscar-winning Hollywood movie Life of Pi. Apart from that, he also a professionally trained magician. Now that's very interesting. And he has performed pan-India in crowds larger sorry for larger than expectations since the age of 8. His creativity and out-of-the-box thinking make him stand today as a proud entrepreneur and an educator and a well-known name in the education fraternity. He is of the belief that every child is gifted. It is just that they unwrap their packages at different stages. With his rich experience in the early childhood education space and working and establishing different brands, Mr. Chirag founded Early Ventures, a chain of premium play schools and corporate child care centers in Bangalore, and ever since is on a mission to empower children in Bangalore, and ever since working on creating more and more entrepreneurs in the country and abroad with a unique, one of its kind franchisee offering. And now his achievement, he was being a successfully trained magician. He has performed in the Oscar-winning Hollywood blockbuster Life of Pi. And he has also established his brand of preschools in Bangalore and now in a journey of helping 1,000 people start their entrepreneurial journey. And he has also won various awards, like he got from Education World Economic Times and Early Childhood Development Forum. So moving ahead, Mr. Chirag, I welcome you to speak today.
Thank you so much, Ms. Aruna, for this wonderful introduction. I'm glad to be a part of this panel today, and I thank GETI for the same, for having me here today and for sharing my views. So the topic for today is something that we've been discussing over and over again from the past 400 odd days, from when the schools and preschools underwent a closure. And ever since, we haven't seen children physically, but yeah, we've been interacting with them online on various virtual platforms. There's a whole discussion about homeschooling, online schooling, which one's better, which one's not good for the child, the advantages, disadvantages, there's so many things, right? So we have come across so many such discussions all over the media, all over the education fraternity, the various WhatsApp groups that we are a part of, various forums that we are a part of everywhere. So what I totally believe is that, yes, as my other two distinguished panelists did mention, that both homeschooling and online schooling definitely go hand in hand, because what I believe is, apart from the school alone, the entire association is required. I mean, for development of a child, there's an association required between the school, the parents, the teachers, and the child, him or herself as well. So it's a square, right? So the parents, the teachers, the school management, and the children. So all of them, if go in the right balance, only then the right development of all these partners can happen. They're all associated with each other. So yeah, the discussion about online schooling, of course, online schooling did exist ever since internet was born, and we got internet in our homes. But the sad part is that we came across this discussion only after the lockdown. So we as educators or as schools were a little late for introducing something called an online schooling platform for children. That's what I believe in. And when it comes to online schooling, yeah, of course, anything new that's coming in, any new practice, any new way of teaching, or any new methodology, when it comes into existence, it obviously has some glitches, it has some challenges. And we as educators also, definitely, you all other panelists also will agree with me that we did face a lot of challenges. It was not a very smooth journey to implement online schooling, especially in the early childhood education segment, because we are the ones dealing with the youngest citizens of the country. And definitely making them sit in front of a laptop or a tablet for maybe 30-40 minutes is not an easy task at all. Apart from that, the acceptance of online education, the acceptance of online education from teachers, from parents, and all the other stakeholders was again a challenging phase for us. For making teachers accept that yes, online education can be possible, whatever you teach in class can be taught online as well, was a challenge. The challenge of the internet services across the country was a big challenge for a lot of rural areas, especially tier 1, tier 2 cities are still having facilities available, but what about the rural areas? That was a major challenge which I came across in implementing online education. The challenges of for a teacher to who was always sitting with children physically and trying to teach, trying to interact, trying to understand what children want, for her to sit in front of a screen and talk to a camera was a very big challenge. But yeah, I mean, whatever has its challenges, of course, there is a good side to it as well. I believe that there was a learning curve which was required. There was a revolution which was required in the industry, and yeah, it just came in, and whatever happens for good. I don't say that the pandemic was a good thing which happened to us, but then when it comes to the revolution in the education, that is something which was much required. The awareness amongst people about the new methodology of teaching, the new normal of teaching, was very, very much essential for all of us. And I'm really happy and proud to say that the education industry has accepted it. The parents have started accepting this. The children have started accepting this. And finally, we see a very good outcome. The entire academic year in most of the cities and states of the nation is on the verge of completion. And in some of the regions, it's already completed. And it's been a splendid year. I don't see any gaps in most of the cases here. And children have been able to learn. Rather, what I feel is children have been able to learn much more. The reason being they were given the freedom. The reason being they were given the freedom of doing it the way they wanted. And more than that, you see, all our wonderful teachers, that the teaching fraternity out there have become such wonderful people, sitting in front of a camera and talking non-stop for hours and hours, and it's not a challenge anymore. It's been so amazing to see the kind of transformation that the entire early childhood education space has had over this entire period of time. It's really awesome. And talking about the learning curve, yes, it's always good to learn. We always tell, as educators, we always tell parents, we always tell children, it's always good to learn. So why not educators also go through this learning curve and go ahead and learn something new that's coming in the market now. So of course, online education has been a boon for there's a big confusion again here. For some, it's been a boon. For some, it's been a bane. But then, what I consider is that the majority consider it as a boon, because if online education was not there, learning would have not been possible. And if learning would have not been possible, the only one that would get affected was the child, no one else. Trust me, it's not the schools, it's not the teachers, it's not the parents who are getting affected. It's only the child who's facing the consequence of not having a physical school. If the child is not able to have schooling, if the child is not able to learn, if the child is not able to interact, it's not a good sign for the child. The child cannot stay like this. So it's only the child who has been affected to the maximum extent. There have been a lot of debates about the screen time and these things. The child's what I feel is that in a child, it's the only challenge is with the attention span, right? So more than the screen time, it's the attention span. So if this attention span challenge is taken up in the right way by us educators, by giving them bite-sized learning, or by giving them what they feel like, what they like, definitely this can be overcome. So in case any of our viewers also who are educators, who are watching this, in case any of you feel that the child is not able to cope up with online learning, it's not because it's happening online, it's because you're giving too much at a time. There's an overdose of learning happening online at a time. So please go ahead and see what the child really enjoys, what the child loves doing. And if there is a right combination of learning, of the duration of learning, of the subject that we are teaching, definitely learning is possible. And we've seen so many children do so amazingly well in this entire pandemic situation. Even though there was so much of negativity and chaos that was there across the nation, children have been able to go ahead and cope up with this new normal. And we are looking, in fact, looking at the current situation with the second wave coming in, and the medics and the scientists telling us that there's a third wave which is on its way and whatnot. I see a very big opportunity in the entire online learning space. Online learning is the future. It's going to be probably for the next 6 months, 8 months, maybe a year. We do not know about it. But then even after the pandemic, even after the entire situation normalizes and it's safe for children to start coming physically to school, what I suggest all my co-educators to practice is a hybrid model, maybe a combination of online and offline learning. It may not be home-based learning, but then online plus on school or in school learning, in classroom learning can be a future prospect that I see in the education space. Talking about homeschooling, yes, as I earlier mentioned, parents are equal partners in the entire learning journey of a child. So schooling at home, taking up concepts at home is also very important. It's not just the teacher who is, so the teacher is basically doing 50% or 60% of the work, but the remaining 40% lies in the hands of the parents. So we need to treat both the education system, the teachers, and the parents as equal partners in the development of this, a beautiful bud into a flower. So what I feel is that online education has been a new learning experience for all of us. It's been a life savior currently for children, and people have started getting adapted. So let's go with the flow and not try to pitch in anything that is not for online education as of now. Online education is the only solution as of now. Trust me, the situation is to go outside, go to a physical school is not viable as of now. So if you want your child to learn, online education is the only way out. Of course, teachers and schools need to understand that how this online education, so we need to crack this particular scenario of how online education is the right education for children, how to make it the right education. So, and I'm sure most of us are able to crack this thing, and we've been doing amazingly well in the education space. parents have started accepting it now, and this looks like a way forward. So by this, I would like to conclude by saying that yes, online education has its drawbacks, but then the percentage of the negatives is much lower when compared to the percentage of positives. So go with the positives and forget about the negatives for now. This is the only way out.
Thank you, Mr. Chirag. Very well spoken. And after listening to all the panelists, what I feel that homeschooling is hand in hand to online play schooling or online schooling, we can say, whatever. And definitely it has been a very new experience for our country last year. And though the teachers, they have to familiarize themselves with the new technology, digital platforms, and though it had its teething problem like network connections and gadgets and all, but still our country has progressed well and parents have accepted. And I have seen even the villages and government schools and all, everywhere parents have accepted online education, maybe through mobile, maybe from laptop. And the more positive point is, like when they go to school, they are exposed to hygiene and safety, which is, it may be there, it may not be there, though it is an Anganwadi or maybe it's a private school, premium private school. So that is one thing. The other, they have more emotional freedom. They are not answerable, and they are not afraid of punishment. The teacher might scold them. They have emotional freedom. And then there's no homework stress as such. Though homework come, assignment come, but even now children, they know that nobody is going to check the homework. And they may be missing their friends. They are, of course, and they are missing co-curricular activities. But like Sonal said, they are learning so much more. They are dancing on their own from the TV. In the cartoons, they are learning the poetry, rhyming, singing, and they are even learning household work, like how to small things, to pick up things from the floor, how to keep their room tidy, and they are not socially isolated. And then this schedule is flexible. Flexible schedules definitely make life easier. Like when they were rushing to school, the school bus was waiting, they might be late, they are punished, the gate is closed. So if you see the online learning, they have these advantages, what I feel personally. And then they can learn at their own pace. Some are very slow learners, some are very fast learners. So every child, they have inner potential, every child. They have so much talent which they can, it gradually, like you said, from a bud, they can become a flower. And as our father for our nation, Mahatma Gandhi, said, that whatever a child learns in the first 5 years, that is what he remembers lifelong. You can't teach after 5, you think they can learn something. It's not that. And then their special needs are catered at home. Maybe they are hungry, maybe they are afraid to ask the teacher permission to use the washroom. So all these things the children are saved in this online play schooling. And of course, which the studies have shown, which I have gone through, that online homeschooling, the children, they become much more happier and much more productive adults. And they become more independent. So this is it. And if there's Akshi or Sonal or Mr. Chirag, if you want to add on it. And online learning, it can be a boon if it is used in the right manner, as Mr. Chirag said. It can be a boon for the working parents, and it has reduced cost. It is multiple learning because everything is available, and it becomes very interesting. The children are more interested. If you must have seen when they watch cartoons and all, they learn very fast, especially that Mickey Mouse program. When they teach alphabets, rhyming and all, I have seen little children, they pick up so fast. So the multiple learning options are there by graphics and by videos, and it builds a lot of confidence, as child is not scared that the teacher is going to punish if we answer wrong, because they are behind a computer screen. So, and though definitely we are the teacher and student, they are less personal, and it might be difficult in adapting, but maybe excess exposure to screen. But if you see the children, even when they were going to school, they were very busy with their parents' mobiles and TV, so they were already on screen, and they were learning much more and much more faster through these gadgets. So the only thing which we have to decide is that we have to, it is important to limit the screen use. That is true. And as I just quote from Dr. Daisaku Ikeda, he has written a lot of, he's a peace practitioner and all. So he has written a book on parenting, that children, they copy their parents. So we have to be very, very careful about our behavior. They copy their teachers, they copy their parents, they copy the adults. They are great mimics. So we have to be very, very careful in our how we are behaving, how we are conducting ourselves. So then we can, bring up very resilient kids. And if we are panicking, we are not happy, the children will not be happy. So we have to be very, very careful in our behavior also. So any other, if you can add, Mr. Chirag, something? Or Sonal?
I would like to. Can I have your?
Yeah.
Yeah. So while you were talking, basically, what I was reflecting on was, yes, I mean, all of us have spoken about the curriculum versus homeschooling. Still, I feel, see, I've been a person who would never say, okay, I've learned enough. So you don't have to be contented enough when it comes to learning or research or finding out new things and ways. I still believe that all of us should leave this panel with a question in mind, that the curriculum is always revolving around a predefined outcome. Okay, so the schools, be it online or offline, be it hybrid or whatever way it is, like all of us have mentioned, there has to be a shift in the system which is yet to come. It has not arrived. When it comes to homeschooling, see, homeschooling doesn't say learning at home. Homeschooling is much deeper than that. It's about letting the child be on the journey, and the child doesn't know what he has begun is going to end where, or it's going to end with what. So that's what homeschooling is all about. So if a child is there trying to get in the kitchen and cook something, he doesn't know what he's going to cook, he doesn't know what he's going to pick up, he doesn't know after the cooking what is he going to do about it, is there anybody who's going to kind of check on him or something. So it's an ongoing process, and the child's brain has to be primed for doing more and more and more. And that is only possible when we as educators in schools around, we call ourselves the education plan developers. I mean, I also say, but then I reflect a lot while I write a plan for a child. I make sure that it has to be the first, I have to position the child. I cannot just develop it by the way it has been designed, by the policies let down by the government. I have to see where is this child is going to end, or what capabilities this child have. So my role would be to leverage that more, give the freedom more, give the wings more, let the child go and flourish. And then I don't have that thappa, of okay, ye outcome tha. And this is the problem with the parents also. I really want to address this. If the child is not learning letters, numbers, please put these things aside. Let's not get into it. Focus the journey. Journey has to be beautiful. Outcome will come. So there is a huge difference in homeschooling.
Yeah. Thank you. And by this, we come to end of our such interesting and panel discussion today. And I really thank Dr. Sunita Gandhi of GETI and Dr. Zainab Mulai for inviting all of you here. Zainab, you want to say something before ending?
I just want to thank you all. Thank you, Akshi ma'am. Thank you, Sonal ma'am, and thank you, Chirag sir. And thanks a bunch to Aruna ma'am for starting this panel discussion. Thank you all, and I would like to thank my viewers. And this was such a healthy and fruitful discussion. And as Sonal ma'am rightly said, we are not ending it. The change is yet to come, and we all are waiting for this change with open arms to come, and we as educators, we are going to accept it as it come and when it come. So with this, we end this panel discussion. Thanks a ton. Have a good evening, all of you.